was the biggest superstar the world had ever seen. With 13 Grammy Awards and the title of King of Pop, Michael Jackson became more than a musician. He became a global icon. His voice, his style, his presence, he had something that made people stop and pay attention. Even if you didn't like pop music, he could still change your mind. Today, we're going to take a closer look at the life and legacy of one of the greatest artists the world has ever known. We'll talk about his complicated relationship with his father, the real story behind his changing appearance, and the music that completely changed pop culture. Stay until the end. You might see a side of Michael Jackson you've never seen before. If you love hearing the stories of legends, go ahead and tap that like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And hey, drop a comment and tell us which legendary figure you want us to cover next. All right, let's get into it. Michael Jackson's childhood was far from easy. He was born on August 29, 1958, in Gary, Indiana, as the 8th of 10 children in a small, working-class African-American family. His father, Joe Jackson, was a crane operator who had once dreamed of becoming a musician. His mother, Catherine, played the clarinet, cello, and piano. She had aspired to become a country and western singer and worked part-time at Sears to help support the family. Michael grew up with 3 sisters, Rebbe, LaToya, and Janet, and 5 brothers, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Marlon, and Randy. Sadly, a 6th brother, Marlon's twin Brandon, died shortly after birth. The house was always full of noise, siblings arguing, singing, rehearsing, and from the very beginning, Michael stood out. Music ran through the entire family, so it was as if he inherited it naturally, like he was born with it inside him. Michael joined his older brother's band, originally called the Jackson Brothers, when he was just 6 years old. Not long after, the group changed their name to the Jackson 5. At first, Jermaine led, but that didn't last long. With Michael's undeniable charisma and talent, it quickly became clear that he was the true star. Their father pushed them hard. He made them do intense rehearsals, managing the group with strict discipline and authority. Michael said his father physically and emotionally abused him during those sessions. He remembered Joe often sitting in a chair with a belt in his hand, ready to punish any mistakes. Joe even admitted that he regularly whipped Michael. However, Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, and Marlon denied their father was abusive, saying the discipline, especially the whippings, which affected Michael more because he was younger, helped keep them focused and out of trouble.
I think he realized to this day, I'm scared. So scared that I would regurgitate.
You would vomit?
Mm-hmm.
When would you vomit? Well, what would produce that sort of reaction in you?
His presence.
Michael also said that, as a kid, he often felt lonely and isolated. Still, in a 1993 interview, he said that although his father was sometimes very harsh, he loved him deeply. Fame was inevitable. Michael was just 11 years old, and his voice, his dance moves, his charm lit up every stage he stepped on. Over the next few years, the Jackson 5 released hit after hit: ABC, The Love You Save, I'll Be There. The world was falling in love with this young prodigy. But behind the spotlight, Michael's childhood was slipping away. His life was filled with exhausting schedules and constant public attention. He often said that he would watch other kids playing outside and cry because he never got to experience that part of growing up. As Michael grew older, he began to distance himself from the Jackson 5. He wanted more creative control and had bigger visions for his music. His first solo songs with Motown, an American record label, were only moderate success. Surprising, considering he had been the star of his old group. But everything changed when he teamed up with producer Quincy Jones, who helped him rediscover his true artistic voice. In 1979, Michael released Off the Wall. It was funky, fresh, and innovative. Songs like Don't Stop Till You Get Enough and Rock With You revealed a more mature, confident Michael. The album sold over 20 million copies worldwide and made one thing clear: he was no longer just a child star. It was 1984 when Michael Jackson made history, winning a record-breaking 8 Grammy Awards in a single night. for his album Thriller. It remains one of the most celebrated moments in Grammy history. Released in late 1982, Thriller went on to become the best-selling studio album of all time, with over 70 million copies sold and more than 120 million in total equivalent sales worldwide. But the music wasn't just popular, it was groundbreaking. Songs like Billie Jean, Beat It, and Thriller blended pop, rock, funk, and soul into something entirely new. The music video for Thriller, with its iconic dancing zombies, turned MTV into a global phenomenon and redefined what a music video could be. Michael's dance moves, especially the iconic moonwalk, which he debuted during Billie Jean, became legendary. Fans tried to copy it, dancers studied it, but no one could move like Michael. His live performances were unforgettable. Lights, choreography, energy. He wasn't just singing, he was performing at a level few had ever witnessed before. By the mid-1980s, Michael Jackson was the most famous person on the planet. Over time, his skin tone began to lighten, sparking widespread rumors that he was ashamed of his black heritage and was intentionally lightening his skin to appear whiter. Later, Michael revealed that he had vitiligo, a skin condition that causes loss of pigmentation, something confirmed by his autopsy. He also admitted to having a few cosmetic surgeries, especially on his nose, but denied much of the tabloid gossip spread by rumor-driven newspapers. In 1984, during a Pepsi commercial shoot, Michael suffered serious burns in an accident. This led to a dependency on painkillers, a struggle that would affect him for the rest of his life. The next album Michael released was Bad. It sold over 35 million copies and produced 5 #1 singles, something no other artist had ever done before. The short film for Smooth Criminal and the explosive dance routines in Bad proved that Michael was still pushing creative boundaries. In 1988, Michael bought a ranch and transformed it into Neverland, a private amusement park and zoo designed as a retreat from the outside world. He filled it with statues of children, animals, and fairground rides. For someone who never really had a normal childhood, Neverland was a fantasy brought to life. But it was also a fortress cut off from the world, and a symbol of his growing isolation. A few years later, he signed the biggest recording contract in history. At the time, a $65 million deal with Sony Music. It gave him full creative control and the freedom to keep innovating and evolving as an artist. More serious problems emerged in 1993, when Michael was accused of sexually abusing a 13-year-old boy. It was an allegation that would haunt him for the rest of his life. Michael denied all accusations and eventually settled the case out of court. The public was deeply divided. Some saw him as a misunderstood, wounded soul, an easy target because of his wealth and fame. Others questioned his close relationships with children and his increasingly unusual behavior. Despite the controversy, he released the His Story album in 1995. This was Michael Jackson's first and only worldwide concert tour as a solo artist, covering 57 cities across 5 continents and drawing millions of fans. It was a mix of greatest hits and new material, much of it angry and defiant. Scream, a duet with his sister Janet, and They Don't Care About Us, showed a more confrontational Michael. He was battling the press, the courts, and public perception. In 1994, Michael married Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of the legendary Elvis Presley. The marriage lasted less than 2 years. It ended due to growing emotional distance, Michael's reported drug use, and conflicting priorities, especially around having children. Lisa Marie felt increasingly pushed aside by the people surrounding Michael, whom she described as vampires, and struggled with his emotional unavailability. Though the love between them was real, she ultimately walked away when it became clear that he wasn't ready to choose a healthier path for their relationship. The separation took a toll on Michael emotionally. Still, that same year he married Debbie Rowe, a nurse, but this marriage also didn't last. By the year 2000, Rowe had requested independence, and the relationship was widely seen as more practical than romantic. Together they had 2 children, Prince and Paris. A third child, Blanket, was born via a surrogate. Michael was often seen in public holding his children while they wore masks, trying to protect their identities. In one infamous moment, he was photographed dangling blanket over a hotel balcony, which caused major public backlash. Michael later apologized, saying, "I got caught up in the excitement of the moment. I would never intentionally endanger the lives of my children." Then, in 2005, Michael faced a second set of allegations and stood trial for new accusations of child molestation. The trial was long and highly publicized. In the end, he was acquitted on all charges, but the damage had already been done. His reputation was shattered, he became more reclusive, his health declined, and his finances took a serious hit. He sold off much of Neverland and was left owing millions. A few years later, Michael announced a comeback. 50 shows in London under the title, "This Is It." He appeared thinner, but full of energy, and fans were thrilled by the announcement, excited for what was to come. But on June 25, 2009, just 18 days before his first scheduled show, Michael was found unresponsive in his Los Angeles home. He was rushed to the hospital, but was pronounced dead. The cause, acute propofol and benzodiazepine intoxication. His personal physician, Dr. Conrad Murray, was later found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. After his death, many rumors circulated. Slightly dramatic, some even claimed he faked his own death or was murdered. But the tragic event deeply affected millions around the world. The reaction was global. Streets filled with fans, radio stations played his songs non-stop, candlelight vigils, flash mobs dancing to Thriller, tears from Tokyo to Paris, to Lagos, to New York. Michael Jackson was gone, but somehow more present than ever. His final concert rehearsals were turned into a documentary, "This Is It," giving fans a rare glimpse into his creative process and perfectionism. Even in death, his influence only grew. For years, Forbes named him the highest-earning deceased celebrity, and tributes poured in from artists he inspired, Beyoncé, The Weeknd, and many more. In 2022, the Broadway show MJ the Musical debuted to critical acclaim, celebrating his artistry and introducing his story to a new generation. Michael's legacy remains complex. On one hand, he is widely regarded as one of the greatest entertainers in history. His contributions to music, dance, and pop culture are unmatched. No one has broken as many records, sold as many albums, or inspired as many performers. On the other hand, the allegations against him remain controversial. The 2019 documentary, Leaving Neverland, reignited debate, with two men describing detailed abuse they said they suffered as children. The Jackson family denied all claims, and once again the public found itself divided. But through it all, the music remains. Thriller is still the best-selling album of all time. Billie Jean still plays in clubs. Kids who never saw him live still imitate his dance moves. His messages of love, unity, and healing still resonate. Songs like Black or White, Man in the Mirror, and Earth Song are as relevant today as ever. Michael once said, "I'm starting with the man in the mirror. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change."